Welcome back to the Momentum Sports Podcast. If you're new here, please consider hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button. Comment down below your thoughts. Derek and I love talking about college sports, especially college football and college basketball. We're excited to get on to this next topic that you came here for. So let's get it. So, Derek, is Gunnar Stockton, is he going to be enough to win Georgia a national championship, or is he going to be what prevents Georgia from winning a national championship this year?
Well, as much as the Georgia fans really got ripped me one in the comments chat, they're probably going to rip some more because I don't think he will. You know, what he did to Texas in the second half is the first time Texas has seen him, and they didn't get much out of it, and they end up losing. It is what it is. Usually you have a week to prepare for a quarterback, and we were preparing for Beck. And that's how it went. But if I had to take another look at another team that was a similar situation, you look at Texas A&M. LSU was up big time. They bring in their backup, and the backup just explodes on LSU. Eventually, teams are going to figure you out and be ready for you. And guess what happened? People start figuring him out and got ready, and they beat them like Texas beat Texas
Mm.
A&M. Well, this is the same thing with Gunnar Stockton. People are going to be ready for him. It depends how well he does in a full game and be able to continue that first half that he did a whole full game. And I don't know if that's going to happen, especially being in such a big, prolific game. And yes,
Yeah.
the SEC championship was a prolific game, but he's going to have to continue that. And we'll find out. I don't think he will. I think he's going to have his hiccups. All great quarterbacks do, and it's just bad timing.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with you. Yeah, your point about preparation and the A&M analogy was actually a pretty good one. How uh, they put in Reed and Reed dominated LSU, but then whenever teams had time to prepare for Reed, they didn't. They were ready, and Reed didn't look that great. Also, you could even use that A&M analogy with in the Missouri game when A&M had what was the other guy's name again? Wigman, Connor Wigman in there. Whenever they had him, he looked like a Heisman Trophy winner. Like he looked like a Heisman candidate against Mizzou, and then a couple games later, boom, he didn't do anything. Reed took the job, also looked phenomenal, and then fell back to earth. Uh, Now, that doesn't mean that this scenario will happen. It just means don't put too much hype on the backup whenever you see him one game in a game that he was not expected to play in, because they were all practice long, like all week long, they had been practicing for Carson Beck. They had been running schemes for Carson Beck. So it will be interesting to see what this guy looks like. But I will give him this. I mean, coming from behind, giving Georgia the lead, he looked very athletic, and it will be interesting. But I think you do make a good point. Is I wouldn't put all your money on this guy to win a national championship from seeing him play in just one game that he came in for another guy.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. And I believe Gunnar Stockton will get better. It is what he
Yeah.
is. I think one day he will make Georgia proud, and I'm hoping to see that time come. And I'm hoping to see Texas knock that sucker down and say,
Oh
"Sorry,
God.
not in my house." But
Yeah, I
but
wouldn't be
for
assuming Texas is going to make it to the Natty, but um
they're making
anyway.
it.
But I will
They got
give
the
Georgia
easiest
fans
path.
this. Yeah, you do have the easiest paths. But I will give Georgia this though. is I think that Georgia is capable, like their defense, of winning a national championship for them. Like when their defense is focused, that team is really good, and it may be able to help them with the quarterback situation because let's be honest here, like even Beck isn't really that phenomenal. I mean, there were definitely some things that a lot of Georgia fans have been complaining about with Beck and, um, other spectators. So I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens. I think that this guy's ceiling is higher than Beck's, but I don't know if you can get to this guy's ceiling at this part of the season. But we'll just have to wait and see. All right, Derek. Let's talk a little bit about Boise State here in the G5. I think that the G5 deserves an opportunity. But if Boise is not able to at least make it past their first game, they're going to lose a lot of cred, like a lot of street cred. Next year, they're going to dismantle the way they did this playoff, most likely, and maybe make it even tougher for a G5 to get in. And they're definitely not going to give a bye to a G5 if Boise does not perform. Now, even if Boise does perform, they may still even take those rights away. But like people are going to go off about G5 and all that if Boise does not make some sort of a run here. How far? First off, how far do you think they'll make it? And like just in reality of like, okay, this is what's going to happen, and then also what is their potential?
Yeah, I'm looking at their odds, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if this is updated odds, but they have a plus 6,000 of winning the Natty.
Yeah.
But if I had to give a reason why Boise State is going to win the national championship, I would have to say Ashton Genty.
Well,
Ashton Genty
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
dominated and running. I mean, he was able to just make Oregon look like crap on the defense. And
And
another
that's
thing
the number
about
one
run,
team in the nation. Oregon is the number
yeah,
one team in the nation.
yeah,
So,
but the thing is, and the reason why they will win the Natty is they're going to slow down the game. The clock is going to be going
mm-hmm.
down. They're running a lot. Yes, they'll pass here and there, but I think the run game has a lot to do with clock management that will happen, and that could definitely get them through a lot of these games. And yes, if they do it right and they're able to run successfully against teams like Georgia's defense, uh, Notre Dame's defense or Penn State's defense, they probably will, and possibly a Texas defense, I could definitely see Boise State winning. But we all know when you have a one-dimensional team, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a run team, and you don't got anything else, I do not see Boise State winning it. But there is a chance. It's a
Yeah.
plus 6,000 odds. Okay, if you're a gambling man, make that bet. You can get some good money. That's like 60 to 1. So yeah.
I mean, it is possible. I just, whenever it comes to the furthest that I see them actually going, I could see them making it to the national championship, because they would have to play the winner of the Penn State SMU game, and I think that they can win that. And as we've talked about earlier in one of our segments here, is Georgia having Connor Stockton, or Indiana and Notre Dame. I think that,
I mean, Gunner Stockton, right?
yeah, Gunnar Stockton. I think that him, Georgia being stuck with him, and no, I don't know if stuck's the right word, but we just don't know. We don't know how he's going to react moving forward. When teams actually prepare for him, how he's going to look. I see a path that Boise can win the semifinal. But
Hmm.
man, when they play the final, man, that's a lot to ask. A lot. Playing a Texas or playing a Oregon, I, I just think that those teams are going to be, they're going to have more depth, and they're just going to, at this point of the season, I feel like Boise will be more bruised up, and the team with the more depth and longevity built team is going to beat them. Um, but that's kind of
Mhm.
the, I think their ceiling is getting to the national championship. Now, once they get there, I'm afraid it might be one of those TCU Georgia type of matchup where it's a blowout, just because they've made it further than they should have.
Mhm.
Um, and I hope that doesn't happen, because I want to see Boise at least go out swinging in a close one, or I mean, or win the whole thing. I mean, that'd be pretty cool, right? I mean, who would have? Like you just said, the odds of that are so low. It'd be cool to actually
Mhm.
see it, and that would just blow up all of college football. Just be like, what? Like we've been, you know, force fed all this SEC, Big Ten stuff, and saying that only these conferences should compete, and Boise State goes in there and beats them all. Um, but anyway, where I think they likely hit though, I think they win their first game, and then I think they lose their second. I think they lose in the semifinals. That's where I have them getting to, which is still like that's honorable. Like if you win at least one playoff game, awesome. And especially if you're the one with the bye, that means that you're playing a second round caliber team. And if you beat a second round caliber team, respect, man. Like if you make it to the final four, the semifinals, whatever they're gonna call it in college football, um, that's respectable, and I think that's where they're gonna land this year. Where do you think they'll actually land, Derek?
Oh, I think they'll make it to the semifinals. I really do. But here's the thing: we don't, and this is the reason why I think they'll make the semifinals. And maybe this might continue on, but Boise State for years have always been the underdog. The underdog is what I say is the underdog mentality. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the Boise State Broncos,
Yep.
they've always shown upsets. Remember that Oklahoma game a long time ago? I think they played Oklahoma and they did a big, huge upset.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think this could come for Boise State in the playoffs. I could see upsets happening, and it very likely might happen, and you're not including. Now, we said the defense isn't that great, but if I had to explain more on the defense, I would let me see here. I'm looking at the stats here. Here's the thing. They've allowed just 22.6 points per game. And yes, they're in the Mountain West. Uh, their run zone defense ranks 25th in the nation with 77.5% of their opponents' red zone trips, uh, allowing a touchdown. Uh, so I mean, it's not that high. It's not like 3 or 4 like Texas would be or whatever, but just those little things might be just enough with the time management to get them past each round.
Yep.
So you can look at that. And
And
now
Genty's got
I'm
to be healthy. Like that's the
yeah.
thing. Like if he goes down, it's just not gonna happen. Um, but they've been doing that all year. They've been relying on him all year long, and
Mhm.
this is what he's done for them. I mean, like, all of the points on their offense, the majority of the points are him. It's
Yep.
crazy how their offense literally is Genty. It's
Oh yeah.
crazy. I hope they don't go out in the first round. I'm rooting for them. I would love to see it. I think it would be really cool. And if they do go out, I hope it's, a close fight and it's not, a blowout type of situation. But again, whenever you're playing this long of a season, there's going to be these bigger teams are built for that longevity. They have the depth. And that's the biggest argument against some of these G5 opponents like a Boise State. But this is their chance to prove those guys wrong, prove everybody watching wrong. The G5 deserves to be in there. They deserve to have a chance. Go and prove it. Because if you lose, you're just giving the other guys more ammo to keep you out. So going in
Mhm.
there and make a statement. Guys, is the SEC the number one conference in college basketball? Before anybody starts typing hateful comments, hear me out real quick. Just hear me out. Number one, Tennessee. Number two, Auburn. Number four, Kentucky. Number six, Alabama. We're still in the top 10. Number seven, Florida. That's one, two, three, four, five. Five teams in the top 10 are in the SEC. Now, outside of the top 10, we've got number 12, Texas A&M. Number 14, Oklahoma. So that's two in the top 15 from 10 to 15. Ole Miss at number 17. And then just outside the top 25, right at the bubble, is Mississippi State, Mississippi State, Arkansas, and Mizzou. Those are
Yeah.
the teams right outside the top 25. So, this is just insane. Now, in these teams, these SEC teams have played pretty good opponents too. Like Kentucky's gotten some good wins. Kentucky's beaten Duke. They've beaten Gonzaga. Um, let's see who else. Tennessee. Tennessee has beaten Louisville. I don't know if that's really counts for very much. Virginia. They won at Illinois recently. Um, I mean, it's wild. Now Tennessee, I'm slightly skeptical of them. They just never finish at number one. I've seen Tennessee ranked number one in the regular season. Not to hate on Tennessee, any Tennessee fans that come in here. I'm not trying to throw shade on you, but let's just kind of wait. I still think that you're legit and you're part of the conversation on why the SEC is legit. Um, but yeah, again, like these teams have legit wins. Like if you look at Alabama, Illinois, they beat Illinois. They beat Creighton. At Purdue. Oh no, they lost at Purdue. Sorry, that's not a win. Uh, but still, I mean, these guys are playing high level basketball. The Creighton win is a big one. I think that was on a neutral floor. Let me
Mhm.
double check though. Oh no, that was at home. Never mind. But still, anyway, these are big time wins, and like the ACC challenge, I'm pretty sure that the SEC like went 10-2. Just ridiculous, crazy, crazy, crazy. Uh, the Big 12, their top team is number 3. Then they've got Kansas at number 8. Um, Houston at number 15. Cincinnati at number 19. I mean, I just looking at this love, like, do you see in one conference? And I'm not sitting here saying an SEC team is going to win the national championship. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I mean, just to get through this conference, I mean, you've got to be legit. I think that there might be 7 to 8 teams from the SEC getting into the bracket.
Here's the thing. You just need to hold your horses for a minute there. Okay. The SC, this is we're early. We're still in football season. Yes, basketball is like this, like the thing we gotta get into, and I
Yeah,
believe this. There's only four legitimate teams. I think they're actually legitimate in the SEC. I think the rest, yeah, they're up there. They're mediocre, like the rest of it. But compete for the national title. I think it's Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, and Kentucky. I think those are the four teams that will compete for a national title. I don't see anybody else being relevant in the SEC. If you want to take a look at it, I really think the Big 12 probably has a better teams like Kansas. I think the ACC has
Kansas
some
has been
really
slipping
good
though.
teams. I really think they have some ACC has some great teams, except for the fact that UConn can't win any one game in the Valley Invitational, that really
Yeah.
slipped up. But then again, they went to my Longhorns and just showed up and made my Longhorns look like crap. So now,
Well,
yeah,
they might be crap. We don't really
yeah,
know.
yeah. But we lost to Ohio. I think we lost to Ohio State, and then we lost to UConn. But every other
Hey,
game,
did you see what
Texas
Auburn
is
did to Ohio State?
yeah. What?
Auburn beat Ohio State by 30.
But see, here's the thing: my Longhorns can score 100 points against most of
32
these teams. Yeah, my Longhorns get
or
100 points to most of these
let's
teams. But when
see.
it comes to UConn, when
Was
it
it
comes to Ohio
32?
State, they can't win. But I don't think UConn's great for the ACC. I think they're not going to make the tournament. Yes, I'm saying that.
Oh, they won by
If you can't,
38. That's what they won by.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you can't win one game in the Maui Invitational, you don't deserve to be in the NCAA tournament. You know, this ain't gonna be that UConn who was ranked number 9 or 8. I forgot what rank they were, and all of a
I
sudden
would
win a
pump the
national
brakes
title.
on UConn, like on the
No,
hate train on
no.
UConn. Give
Mm,
them some
mm, mm.
time. They have struggled in the past 2 seasons that they've won national championships. Especially the first season that they did. I actually picked them to win the Natty the first time that they did in my bracket, which is
Yeah,
pretty cool. And everybody laughed at me. But yeah, I just saw it, man. I have a way of being able to pick champions.
we lost 3 games in the Maui Invitational. Did you know that Maui Invitational, the winner of the Maui Invitational, probably has the best chance of winning the Natty than any other tournament out there? So yeah, you can even win one game in the Maui Invitational, and there's always suckers in that tournament sometimes.
Some
So
suckers, huh?
I'm sorry, you were the last place team. How bad is that? I was so surprised they wouldn't even go from
That
two
was
to
surprising. It was
nothing.
surprising.
I was just like they should be on ranked, but it is what it is. Now you said which is the best? Is SEC the best conference? I'll say right now because they have a lot of teams, but
Yeah.
we'll find
Well,
out later on.
yeah. And I think yeah, Arkansas is one of those teams too that they're starting to slide back up there. They started out slow and now they're playing really good ball with a win over Michigan. Um, who Michigan has a good team. They're ranked number 24 right now. When Arkansas beat them, they were number 15. Um, we'll just have to see. Some of the when conference play starts, that's whenever you'll really get to see how some of these teams are, especially in the SEC, man. It's going to be wild. Really, really excited for that. But um, yeah, if we're looking at rankings strictly right now, the SEC is just in there. But that's also because they're winning out of conference opponents. Like they're having out of conference matchups and they're winning these. Like yesterday, let's pull this up. So on Tuesday, we're recording this on a Wednesday. Uh, let's see, who was it? Florida beats North Carolina. And there was another one yesterday. South Carolina beats Clemson. So it's just, yeah. On
Mhm.
Saturday, Tennessee beats Illinois. Auburn beats Ohio State. Kentucky, Louisville. Alabama beats Creighton. Um, Florida beating Arizona State. Texas A&M beats Purdue. Ole Miss, Southern. Oh, that's not really one. But anyway, it's wild. This is a new era for the SEC. I've never seen anything like this. I've been watching SEC basketball for a very long time. Never seen this. This consistency of bottom to or bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever, top to bottom. um, they look good. They look good. So
Yeah.
anyway, Derek, I can see you're skeptical over there, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Hmm.
And I'd pump the brakes on those Kentucky Wildcats. I don't know about them. Offense doesn't win championships, so But
You know what?
I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of Kentucky, but I think that they're properly excuse me. I think that they are properly ranked at the moment. But we'll see if they keep that ranking or if they get passed up by Arkansas.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll go to the next one. All right. I know we're a little late to the party here. We're recording this a little bit later than other reactions, but we're deciding to do a reaction anyway to this Heisman Trophy situation. We did a prediction for who we thought would win the Heisman versus who we thought should win, and it happened like we'd predicted. We said that we thought that Hunter would win the Heisman and that Genty should win the Heisman, like should have. Um, and I'll say why. Before the people that are going to accuse us of Deion haters and Colorado haters and Hunter haters, whatever, I'm going to say this. Number one, who's in the playoffs? That's always been the way the Heisman is. Not I guess not always, but the majority of the Heisman Trophy winners, it's because one player takes the team to elite status to either contend for a championship or be very close to it. And being outside of a 12-team playoff, I don't know if a Heisman Trophy winner should be somebody outside of the 12 top teams. But anyway, that's my first point. My next one is you take Genty off of Boise State, they're nothing. You take Travis Hunter off of Colorado, they're slightly different, but they've got an NFL quarterback and they've got other things going for them. Boise State is Genty. If you look at the points that Genty scores running into the end zone versus what they're doing passing or their quarterback running into the end zone, the majority of the points are handoffs to Genty. He is the offense. He is the team at Boise State. I just wanted to put that out there. That's my take on it. I think that Derek made a really good point, and you can expand on this, Derek, but I thought you made a very good point about connections with Deion. Deion having those connections that probably skewed things and put Genty at a big disadvantage in this situation. I one last thing. I think Hunter is a great player. I think it's really cool what he's doing, but I do think that what Genty did from a Heisman standpoint, as in an MVP status type of player that you need this guy for your team to be good, Genty should have been that guy.
All right. Well, let me put a little facts out here. Ashton Genty was the team for Boise State. Ashton Genty rushed over 2,400 yards, and I'm looking at the stats because I don't know these by heart. I just know he did a lot. It says he has 29 touchdowns. His All American honors. He holds FBS all time. He's on the verge of breaking the FBS all time rushing record. Yes, you can make a case. Barry Sanders did 11 games, and technically Barry Sanders would have had 28. I think 2,800 yards. Did they count it? Not like the bowl game. Um, he's won the Maxwell Award, Bill Walker Award. He finished second behind, Travis Hunter. But Jake performance has been a key factor for Boise State,
Yeah.
and he is the reason. This is the same thing. You have to be like really good to be able to do what Ashton Genty did. And I promise you this, if Ashton Genty was on Colorado, it would have been a whole lot different. He would
oh,
have won the whole thing.
oh, you
He
would.
would have won.
You're
He
right.
would
I
actually.
agree.
He would have
I
made Colorado
agree.
win. There have been games that they lost that Ashton
Wow.
Genty would have said, "No way."
Boom.
He
You're
right
right.
there.
If you flip them, if
Okay.
you put Hunter on Boise State and you put Genty on Colorado, Colorado's in the college football playoff. I
But
100% agree.
here. Travis Hunter was versatile. He had 92 passes thrown his way,
Yeah.
1,152. That's 92 catches, 1,152 yards. He had 14 touchdowns, 31 tackles, 4 interceptions, and 11 pass deflections. Sorry.
Yeah. No, he was
Okay,
a stud. He was.
he was a stud, and
Yeah.
I want to put it out this way. My eye was pointing Boise State, Genty to win the Heisman. Now to think about it, this right here is unprecedented. You will never, ever see somebody go two ways. I don't care what team you're on. It's hard enough to play two ways. And he didn't just do it two ways, like a one side and mediocre on the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, he was a stud on both sides.
Travis Hunter is going to make All American on offense and defense. He won the top offensive player. He won the top defensive player. He will. He deserves it. I have to say it right
You
now.
changed your
This
mind, huh?
I have changed my mind, and I have to believe this is if he was on any other team like Ashton Genty, if he was on Boise State, do you think that coach would have gave him a chance to play offense and defense? He had to go somewhere that will let him do it.
Yeah.
Most coaches would never done that.
Yeah.
And for him
Yeah.
to choose Colorado when he could have gone anywhere else, he was a five-star recruit that went to Jackson State. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, that's crazy. What five-star recruit goes to Jackson State? And then he follows Dion, because he knew Dion was going to let him play both ways, and he was willing to go down to a D2 school to do it.
Mhm.
And that gives a lot of heart and a lot of effort, and he never gives up. And he plays every snap on the ball, almost every snap. Usually people get injured for that, but he didn't get as injured as most people would. So yes, I'm gonna have to say Travis Hunter deserves it. It was a close one. It's crazy. The fan vote had Ashton Genty. The Heisman voters had Travis Hunter. This is the closest since 2009. And
Yeah.
Travis, you did your job. I mean, you're not going to play two ways in the NFL. I'm sorry, it's not happening. You better pick a position. You're going to be great on either side. Well, I can't wait to find out which way he goes. It's going to be fun. And I'm not sure he's playing the bowl game. Hope he does. He doesn't.
I want to ask you this though,
Good luck.
Derek. Is I know he played both ways, but he was playing a reflection of the position he was playing on offense. It's not like that he was a linebacker or a defensive lineman or something like very different from his offensive position. He was basically I I don't mean to like take away from the kid cuz he did great. But like that whole scenario, I wonder if you did that with other wide receivers, how well a because I've heard of them moving a wide receiver to a cornerback before.
How
Like
many wide receivers are
like
they
they've
going?
done that at Arkansas plenty of times. Or they've moved a cornerback to wide receiver, or vice versa. It's usually not the cornerback to wide receiver, but they definitely have put wide receivers at cornerbacks before. So it's not too unheard of that a wide receiver is capable of being a cornerback. Now, being an elite at both, that is pretty awesome, and to have the energy to do that is pretty awesome. But I'm still gonna stick with this. I think if you put Genty at Colorado, I think that I think he would make a bigger impact than Hunter going to Boise. But that's a hypothetical situation. We could all disagree on that. But all right, well, I put out the reason why I would take Genty, and you did why you think you would pick Hunter. Did you want to add something?
Yes, I want to ask you. You said what any wide receiver can do what he did.
No, no,
You know,
no,
he
no. I
had
did
one.
not say any can. I said I would be interested to see how common that could be. Like if you put wide receivers in that position, because again, like it has happened, like schools like Arkansas, where they've put a wide receiver at cornerback or
Yeah, but
safety.
that wide receiver didn't go into Baylor and go in overtime and force a fumble to win the game. You know, he did. He actually popped his head into the ball as he was tackling, and he forced the fumble. You know, he, but yeah, that's another point I wanted to point out. You know, Travis Hunter has done things, crazy things on both sides. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
going to be great.
I mean, being elite at both, I mean that does say something. Uh, just for me personally, like it's very very close. It's very close. I just lean that I do think that Genty had a bigger impact whenever it comes to taking a team into the college football playoff. Again, I believe from what I've seen that Boise State would not be in the college football playoff without Genty. I don't know even if they would get that close without him. And I think Colorado would maybe drop 1 to 2 games without Hunter. I don't know. I guess that would be a fairly similar situation, I guess thinking about it. But I don't know. I just think that if Genty was on Colorado, he would have had a bigger impact than what Colorado was able to do this year, just in my opinion. But I do think that it is very, very close. And I mean, you can make the argument because it is so close, neck and neck, that they did make the right decision. Uh, but my opinion, I still would have stuck with Genty. And I'm interested to see what people say down below. Try to keep an unbiased opinion. I do want to see some unbiased opinions down there. Like if you're an all Colorado guy or you're an all Boise State guy, like come on, like I want to see an unbiased take from each side and people that don't have a horse in the race too. Like that
Mhm.
literally do not care either way. We're only there as spectators just going like, "Oh, wow, those two kids are really good." Which one would you have voted for? Because I am
Thrash him.
curious. No, no, easy now, Derek.
Thrash him. Tell him he's wrong.
But all right, we can just end it here then. I'm excited to see what everybody says down below, and yeah, we'll see how many people say that I'm right, Derek. I'm just kidding. Uh, all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you got this far, please consider hitting that like button and commenting down below with your thoughts. We'll see you guys in the next video.